On the Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, a Ball State athletics podcast, highlighting the Cardinals athletic teams and administration each week, presented by Gamebridge. Here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
Hey, Cardinals fans, episode 20 of This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll have a fun conversation coming up with men's golf coach Mike Fleck. But for now, we talk with Director of Athletics, Jeff Mitchell. Jeff, there's a lot going on in Ball State athletics. But first and foremost, have you adjusted yet to the cold temperatures and the snow?
Who's counting, Mick? But I do believe that this is day 12 of sub-freezing temperatures, day or night. And the extended forecast is considerably warmer, and that makes me happy.
I would say you're counting, but maybe not.
Well, I've been counting. It's been an interesting couple of weeks just to enjoy life as a Hoosier and experience my first ever winter. So this has been it's been interesting, but family's doing great. We've had a good time shoveling snow and de-icing. You know, we've got a rather steep driveway, so we want to make sure that we're safe for the vehicles to go up and down. And we're probably being overly cautious, but you know, it's part of experiencing what Indiana has to offer.
Next, you'll have a heated driveway to do it for you.
Well, maybe not. There's still something to be said for hard work.
That's true. No, you're right. We talk about shoveling snow, de-icing. We had to do that to get into the doors for the Hall of Fame ceremony on Friday night with some snow to celebrate our 7 new inductees. For you to be a part of your first ever Ball State Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, Hall of Fame ceremonies are typically very inspiring, and I think for my first one here at Ball State, it really demonstrated the comprehensive excellence that the Ball State brand is known for. We had people from across multiple sports and across multiple disciplines within the athletics department, and hearing the stories of the inductees, you could tell that they were passionate about Ball State during their time here, and that the lessons learned have continued to drive them to be successful human beings, and that they're grateful and proud of the fact that they extend this Ball State legacy. So for me, to hear those things, to connect with them, to talk to family members and friends, former teammates of our inductees, just very special moment. We had 200 people, you know, to come and celebrate the 7 inductees, and that was especially meaningful as well, to have that many people not only affiliated directly with the inductees, but some community members at large who came in to celebrate with us as well, and of course got to celebrate them at the men's basketball game on Saturday. So it was a fun weekend, full of celebration and honor for our 7 inductees.
What stuck out to me was just the warmth and the energy surrounding the late Chris Bierman, too. Joe Moyer spoke on the behalf of Chris, and it just felt like everybody was so in tune with what Joe was saying, and it felt, you know, that energy in such a great place.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, of course, we're grateful that the family of Chris Bierman could join us, and his son and daughter were present, and I got to visit with them, and they're so very proud of their father, and as they should be. But again, just the demonstration of the support, not only for him by a teammate, but just the stories that were recounted there demonstrate how valuable the Ball State experience is to our student athletes. And as we look at the current day and our current student athletes, that's exactly what we're trying to get across to them. And as I mentioned at the banquet, you know, we are developing leaders and winners. And the 7 inductees certainly exemplify that. And yet every day we're trying to shape the 400-plus student athletes that we have the privilege of mentoring and coaching to live up to that standard. And, you know, what a great set of role models that our current student athletes can look to that in those 7 inductees.
You talk about current students, you talk about having a high standard of excellence. We've seen that on full display this year with Ball State Gymnastics. They peeled off 3 10s in Tennessee, broke a MAC record for the highest score. What have you noticed about this Ball State Gymnastics team early in the season?
Well, they expect to perform at a high level. And I was beginning to get that impression a year ago as I began following their success and certainly going to the NCAA championships. There's a standard there that you meet. Well, they've never wavered from that. In the off season, certainly this fall, they put in a lot of work, and that work largely goes unnoticed. Their practice area is kind of tucked away from everybody, and they go early in the morning, and there's not a lot of fanfare for it, and then they just explode on the scene when it comes to their season. And as we get some home meets now to enjoy, it's just full of energy, and so they're ready, and they are competing at such a high level. They expect to compete well. They've demonstrated that early on in our season, and I bumped into Coach Joanna Salim and her coaching staff, and they're just really excited about the growth and the development of their team, and they're seeing it even as accomplished as they are. There's this thirst and hunger to be even better. I think when you've got that, you've got the recipe to have successful seasons. I listened to a couple of our student athletes on a local radio program this morning as I was making my way into work, and you could just hear the energy and the enthusiasm in their voices. They're just really excited about what they're doing and the fact that they get to wear the Ball State brand while they're competing. It's pretty awesome.
It is, and the development of that team has been so fun to watch the last couple of years, and of course last season jumping onto the scene like they did. As of this podcast recording this on Monday, drops Tuesday. They'll have a competition on Monday night, but it's Squishmallow night. You bringing any Squishmallows with you to the meet?
There may be some from the Mitchell family that show up. So it's been a little bit of a buzz around the house in the last 24, 48 hours. As a matter of fact, it was the last conversation that I had as I was leaving the house this morning. So yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll have to follow up on this conversation.
I could go so many ways with this, and I'm deciding which way I should go. The family's bringing some, or you're bringing some? That's the big question.
Next question.
Okay. I'll take that as you're bringing all 5 Squishmallows then, and we'll leave the family to get more.
Oh, well, yes. I think we'll just own it as a Mitchell Squishmallow contribution to tonight's or to the events. To tonight's event.
I love it. Let's just take a left turn and go to women's basketball. They put up a great performance on a Sunday night game, national televised on CBS Sports Network. Beat Toledo by double digits, who was an undefeated MAC team at that point. This Ball State women's basketball team is absolutely rolling right now.
Well, they're really fun to watch, and like gymnastics, they expect to win, and so the community is beginning to really rally around them. We had a great crowd last night, or on Sunday night, and we are really enthusiastic about basketball down the stretch with that program. They played really well on really both sides of the ball, but especially defensively, and really took Toledo out of its game. Toledo is a really good team, and they took Toledo's guards out of the game. And I think Coach Salih mentioned in his post-game press conference that Toledo threw a little bit of a wrinkle at us early. We recognized it. We adjusted, and because we were down at the end of the first quarter, and then exploded out to a 10-point advantage at halftime. So had a big second quarter, and then of course that continued throughout the rest of the game. But we've got a team full of winners, and so they're fun to play. They execute. They love each other. They're just in sync, and they never panic when they play. So I'm excited for them. And while we're talking about women's basketball, I want to point out that last night was exceptional for the Mid-American Conference to have two of our better teams, if not our best teams, playing on national television, and that the league is now emphasizing in some of our basketball windows for national TV that they're incorporating the women's game into those slots. I think that's really important for the women's basketball. I think it's important generally. I think it's really important for the Mid-American Conference because we've got several teams that are really good basketball teams within our league. And, of course, it's always great for the two teams that are in the spotlight, and so certainly great for Toledo and certainly great for us. The fact that we were hosting, we had a great atmosphere. I think that showed well on TV. And then winning certainly doesn't hurt. And so for us to prevail the way we did, I got several messages after the game saying that looked great on television and congratulations on the win. And while I'm grateful for that, I think it's awesome for the sport. I think it's awesome for us at Ball State, but it's great for the league as well.
And two 1,000-point scorers in that game. Nyla Hampton, Allie Becky, both surpassing 1,000 points. Of course, Allie's done that all here at Ball State. Nyla, some at Bowling Green, some here at Ball State. So to have everything that you just said and then two players hitting massive milestones in the same night, that's special.
Yeah, it really is special. And for that to happen really back-to-back, I think Allie hit a free throw, and then just a couple of minutes after that, Nyla, I think it was a steal and a score that went into a timeout called by Toledo, and then we were immediately able to announce that both of them had surpassed that 1,000-point scored plateau. A remarkable individual achievement for both of them, but I think if you were to ask them, the significance of that is more team-focused. And Allie got asked that in the post-game press conference yesterday, and as you would expect, while she was proud of it, I think she was more proud of the fact that those points have been utilized to help the team be successful, and there's a lot that goes into scoring, whoever is scoring, and so they're great teammates, and we're glad they're on the Ball State team.
You can see that the team is so well connected by the locker room celebrations. Brady running in, and then assistant coach Audrey bringing the boombox, running in. They're all dancing, they're all singing. The camaraderie is awesome to watch for that women's basketball team. Jeff, some other teams have been in action throughout the week. Swim and dive, massive win against Toledo as well on the women's side. Track and field competing. Men's tennis off to a 2-0 start. Butler and Eastern Illinois wins. And then men's volleyball returns home Sunday to face a nationally ranked Hawaii team. Big week ahead, also a big week in the rearview mirror too.
Yeah, again, this is a fun part of the year when all of our teams seem to be competing. I'm excited for the fast start by men's tennis. A great performance again in conference play on the swim side. Women's tennis will pick up action again this weekend. A really good performance by indoor track and field over the weekend as well. And with volleyball, two tough matches on neutral settings in Texas, playing Stanford and USC. And then we've got Hawaii coming to town on Sunday. Men's volleyball is now at full strength, and we've had some student athletes out for a variety of issues. But in my correspondence with Coach Cruz over the weekend, he goes, "We're getting there." And coaches, when they are seeing progress and they're encouraged by the development of their team, the losing sometimes is part of that progression. They were competitive. The results weren't there. They're coming, and Coach Cruz is excited about that. I think the team is as well. Across our sports, as we are in this winter season, as we look forward to the spring season, we're continuing to develop and grow. And again, we're recruiting winners. And so our student athletes want to be successful, and they're putting in the work. Our coaches are too. And so I'm really encouraged at this point in the year about where we are and what we're doing.
Well, Jeff, we always appreciate you having you on the podcast. This is episode 20. We'll talk with you next week on episode 21. Thank you.
Look forward to it, Mick. Go Cards.
Sometimes it's not the moment. It's the moment before the moment. The moment you make a choice. The moment you take control. The moment only you can own. Gainbridge lets you invest on your terms. So you're not only in charge of this moment, but all the moments to come. Start investing now at Gainbridge.io.
All right, Cardinal fans, we're back on episode 20 of This Week in Ball State Sports, and we're pleased to be joined by head men's golf coach Mike Fleck to talk some golf because we're in his office, we're staring at the season, and the first week of February is almost here. Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you. I'm happy that our backs are to the window right now so we don't have to look out at the weather as we approach golf season, but yeah, looking forward to this.
Minus 23 wind chill's not fun for a golf team.
I would take minus 23 as a score. Minus 23 as a wind chill is something we definitely want to steer away from.
That's a really good way to put it. Minus 23 golf score, you're looking at records at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And you're also looking at records on the other end of it too, right? With minus 23 wind chill. So,
Coach, we had a chance to celebrate one of the Ball State all-time greats at the Hall of Fame ceremony this past Friday. Eric Steger being inducted into the Hall of Fame. What was that moment like for you to be able to see Eric and family celebrated like that?
You know, it was special. It just, especially with it being the first young man during my tenure here as a coach, and then also obviously the tie-in with Eric and his dad being in the Hall of Fame and what his dad meant to our golf program back in the day, and obviously even Donna playing golf here before the program kind of got disbanded. But yeah, it brought me back to probably the recruiting process with him and the recruiting process that I have with a lot of these young men, in the sense that we really try to talk a lot about, my main goal and my job is to help young men make progress, and to see him up there talking with you, in a suit and articulating, and to look over and see his family there with his children, it just was kind of full circle for me that, we really accomplished the goal with Eric Steger relative to helping him make progress as a young man, to put him in a position where, obviously he created a lot of success for himself here at Ball State, but he became a father, a husband, now he's teaching youth, and that's just, he's given back to the golf community. Just really special.
At the ceremony, he mentioned that you recruited him as soon as you were possibly able to. Was that special for you, just to be able to say, okay, his father was a part of this, and oh, by the way, Eric is really good and we want him to come to Ball State too?
Yeah, no question. I mean, you got to separate a little bit, right? So Eric is his own person, and I wasn't recruiting Eric because his dad was Scott, and Scott was an All-American here. I was recruiting Eric because Eric was a hell of a golfer, and he was someone that I wanted to be a part of our program. It just so happened to be that, he was a family member of somebody that played here and had a ton of success. But yeah, he was somebody that we identified early. Obviously, it probably helped us in some of the relational aspects that the Steger family was familiar with Ball State, familiar with Ball State golf, and obviously with Coach Earl still being alive at the time, there was that connection between Scott and his time here and me taking over, and so it kind of just blended a little bit, and thank goodness Eric decided to jump on board with us, and we were lucky to have him.
And you got to see him in a suit and talk about himself, the program, and highlight what men's golf is.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't want to embarrass him too much, but there was a little bit of a moment before the ceremony where I took a phone call from him, and I said, Steve, what's up? And he said, Coach, I need a favor, which, I remember working with him as a student athlete, and he's like, hey, I brought everything up to Muncie. I've got my suit, but I forgot a belt. You have a brown belt. And I'm like, Steve, all these years later, and I'm still taking care of you, right? So, but again, reflecting on even just that funny little story, like these guys are a part of our family for life, and we're going to continue to take care of them as long as the good Lord's willing to allow us to do that. And that's what's kind of special about our golf family, is that it's not a 4-year experience, it's a lifetime experience. And just seeing Steger in that capacity, and watching him spend time with you and talk to the audience and just take it all in was really, really cool.
That sparks a really good conversation, Coach. You mentioned once a part of the family, always a part of the family. Once you're a coach, you're always a coach, mentor, and somebody in Eric Steger's life. When did that become something that you wanted to make a part of your program and your coaching style?
I just remember what it was like when I played here for Coach Earl. And, Coach Earl really didn't have the golf expertise, but he was really good on presenting a culture of, hey, look, you guys are in this together. And, maybe by chance, maybe by design, there's a lot of Indiana kids that roll through this program over the years. So there's a connection. A lot of them get into the golf profession business. So, we kind of use those pipelines for recruiting opportunities, places to go play, people to lean on just in any situation relative to golf. And you kind of see that family aspect with Ball State golf. And it's certainly nothing that I've created. It was all established by Coach Estingsmeyer, and I'm just kind of, the person that's just kind of carrying on the traditions and the culture that he established within the framework of the program.
Coach, you talk about recruiting. One big recruit name that has flown around the internet nationally, worldwide. Happy Gilmore's coming to Ball State. What has this process been like with men's golf, with Happy, to get to this point?
Pretty similar to what I referenced with Eric Steger. Obviously Happy Gilmore in the golf circles carries a unique story relative to, the people that follow the movie. But he's a heck of a golfer. And, we didn't recruit Happy Gilmore because he was Happy Gilmore. We recruited Happy Gilmore because he was one of the highest ranked players in the state of Indiana, has had a ton of success at the high school and the junior golf level. And again, kind of checked a lot of boxes for us relative to the type of young men that we want being a part of our program. And the sidebar to it is that, all the chaos that kind of, comes along with the name of Happy Gilmore.
Has something like this ever happened as your head coaching tenure has gone on?
No. Obviously with the change of the scenery in college athletics with, NIL and collectives and, kids being able to monetize, we've never seen anything like this. And obviously with Happy, it's, there's going to be more to come with all that. And, we will embrace it. But again, at the end of the day, my main goal for Happy is to bring him in here, coach him up, help him become a young man that's ready for whatever it is that he's going to do when he walks out the door, hopefully 4 years from the time that he comes in. And, we've done our job to put him in that position.
How many people have made movie references to you about Happy Gilmore?
It's unbelievable. It's nonstop, and I still, we signed him back in November, and he verbal committed over the summer. I'm still getting messages of, is this real? Is this a joke? What's going on here? And I'm excited to have him. Obviously he's going to bring a little bit of different identity to our golf program, but I think in time people are going to see that he's an awesome young man who's a really talented young golfer, and we're going to get the most out of him on every level, and hopefully people will recognize him more for his golf game than his name tie-in.
Another big name coming to Ball State in the recruiting trail, Gavin, joining the recruiting class. Family runs deep within Ball State golf as well. How impactful is that?
Yeah, again, another super athletic kid that checked a lot of boxes, and I'm excited because, Gavin has, a familiarity with the program with his older brother Griffin being here. COVID created a unique situation for Griffin to be able to have a fifth year of eligibility, and they were never high school teammates, and they're going to have the chance to be teammates here at the collegiate level at least for 1 year. And Gavin is another one of those Indiana kids that's an elite, junior golfer, happens to play on Tipton's basketball team right now, and they are one of the best teams in their class and one of the best teams in the state basketball wise. So he's kind of bringing some team dynamics that are a little bit different, versus some of the kids that come in that play golf exclusively from an individual perspective. So yeah, we're equally excited about Gavin and really think that we've kind of hit a home run with both those guys, with that class.
Coach Mike Fleck joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, episode 20 of the podcast. Coach, when you get players onto campus, what is your philosophy in coaching them skill-wise? You talked about a little bit as a person, as a college kid, but as a player, as a golfer, what is your philosophy? They step in, how are we going to make this player to the best of their capabilities?
Yeah, I think it's kind of identifying strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, golf is one of those games where there's so many moving parts. One thing can be good one week, the next week it kind of drops off and something else picks up. But it's really kind of preparing them to play tournament golf. And I remember Tiger Woods back in the day, when he was in his heyday, he didn't hide from the fact that he was getting ready for 4 tournaments every year, and it was the 4 majors. We're kind of taking that same approach where, hey, we're getting ready for 5 5 or 6 events in the fall each weekend. We're getting ready for 5 or 6 events in the spring each weekend. But ultimately, the fruit that we're chasing is at the end of April with the MAC championship. So everything that we're doing is kind of a build up to that. And, we want to be ready to play our best golf on the weekends and not the weekdays, and be ready for those tournaments. So we kind of try to do everything we can from a preparation standpoint to put those guys in the best place that they can be.
Well, February 5th is coming up really fast, and that's the first opportunity in the spring season to really get things going. Where do you think this team is at in preparation for that one?
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. I mean, these guys actually went off over the holidays and played in a lot of independent tournaments, which was nice to see. So they kind of, had a chance to kind of, from a barometer standpoint, kind of feel where they are with their game and figure out, what they need to work on when they got back here to campus for this 3-week stretch before we go down. So we're confident in the sense that, this match play event is a great event. We've hosted it for many years. We had the opportunity to win it last year, so we're going back as defending champs. And, I think these guys will go in with some confidence, and obviously we'll get down there a couple days early and get some reps in and be ready to roll.
February 5th and 6th in Florida, February 25 through 27 in Puerto Rico. Are we noticing a theme within these first couple of competitions?
You referenced that minus 23 right at the beginning. Yeah, we got to go south to play early, and what better places to go than Florida and Puerto Rico? Again, Puerto Rico is kind of an event we played the last couple of years, so we've got some familiarity, and we played well down there too in February. So it kind of validates again, going back to what you were talking about with the getting ready for the match play, like what we've been doing since the guys got back a couple weeks ago up to match play, and then through February getting ready for Puerto Rico. We kind of know what the roadmap is, and we know what we need to do, and we'll hopefully kind of build and expand on the success that we had, down in Puerto Rico, and maybe even achieve at a higher level.
Coach, you mentioned that some players in individual tournaments and playing over the holidays to stay fresh. How pivotal is that to get them ready for this February start slate?
I think it's important because, we kind of shut it down in October and take a little bit of a relaxed approach, November, December, because honestly, these kids have been playing, all spring, all summer, all fall competitively. So it's kind of a nice little time frame to refresh, reset, but then kind of gearing up for the spring season. It's nice for these guys to go play because it shows them where they're at, and it shows them maybe what they've been working on towards the latter part of the winter, and then coming back here, it kind of gives them a good measuring stick of, okay, getting the competitive juices going again, knocking some rust off, kind of getting the feels of what it's like to be in tournament competition, and luckily for some of these guys, they were in contention a little bit. So it created those game day feels that we can't create between, when we shut it down in October and when we start back up in February.
Coach, how on an individual level are you seeing these golfers grow to get ready for February?
I've referenced it a little bit in our socials. I mean, a handful of these guys have made a ton of progress in the time that they've been here. I mean, Carter's been here for a couple years, and over that 16, 17-month stretch, he's gone from, kind of coming in and not really knowing what to expect to, his expectation is to be one of the best players in the MAC. Cash Beller's the same way. Ali Khan's made a ton of progress, and even Alex Caesar, a freshman who's come in here and he got a lot of experience in the fall and played at a pretty high level. I know he wanted to play better, but as a freshman, you kind of take it all in and learn and grow. And then we've got Braxton Kuntz, who transferred in from Nicholls State, and he was a first-team All-Southland Conference kid. So, I think we're setting this thing up to where, if we show up in April at the right time and do the things that we need to do between now and then, we could be a team that's looking at some opportunities at the end of the year.
How pivotal is it to have pieces like that all meshed together and have the experience from within the program, experience from outside the program, and then youth up and coming?
Yeah, no, it was important. I kind of still looked at us as kind of a young team in the sense that a lot of these guys haven't played tournament golf for 3 or 4 years like a normal senior. So not only bringing Braxton in, who has a couple years, but we brought in 2 grad transfers in Trey Wilson and Jensen Klondike, and the goal was obviously to create depth because they're both good players, but also bring that level of maturity as fifth-year guys. They've kind of been through the experiences, and they kind of know how to create some things dynamic-wise within the team to help these guys, the younger guys that even though they've played a lot of golf, there's still a long way to go. So we've got a nice blend right now, and I'm really excited about that.
Coach, before we let you go here, get ready for the season, is there anything you want fans, community members to know about Ball State golf before February 5th?
Well, just follow us. I think, don't sleep on Ball State golf. I think we're going to be relevant at the end of April. And the exciting thing about our MAC championship this year is it's just down the road in Westfield, Indiana. So a place called Chatham Hills where, a lot of people in the golf community here in Indiana are familiar with. And I would challenge everybody to kind of take advantage to come down to Chatham at the end of April and watch some great tournament golf and hopefully watch Ball State win a MAC championship.
Absolutely, Coach. Hey, we appreciate you. Good luck this season. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports, presented by Gamebridge. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network.